Mr. Malinga, what is the vision of the ministry? And I ask this in 3 subsections. 1, what's the vision of the ministry short term? What's the vision of the ministry mid-term? And what's the vision of the ministry long term?
Our vision is to be a model of excellence in sustainable management and utilization of energy and mineral resources in Uganda. So as a ministry, we have different regulators. When you go to the energy sector, subsector, we have the Electricity Regulatory Authority. When you come to the oil and gas, we have the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. When you come to the mineral, we are supposed to have a department as per the new law of 2022. Now on short term, things which enable us follow as far as the national development plans are concerned. We have them for 5 years. But within those 5 years, we still have these annual activities which we do. Then the medium term is the 5 years when we look at the NDP3. So as we talk now, the NDP3 is ending next year. Then we have to again plan for another 5 years. But all these NDP plans feed into the Vision 2040. So in summary, we work within that.
Thank you. So basically, annual budgets, annual plans, they feed into NDP3, and then NDP3 feeds into Vision 2040.
Yes.
First oil, from the horse's mouth, you as the ministry, where are we with first oil?
First oil, it was publicly announced last year on 1st February that come 2025, we shall be seeing the first oil. And that question is still lingering in people's minds. Say, is it true? For those of you who have been there, you can attest that there are a lot of activities going on. Wells are being drilled, and I think MTN has told us what they have seen on the ground.
Thank you very much. Local content. And yesterday, we had a session on local content. Mr. Jimmy here was moderating it. Where are we at the local content fund?
The idea of a local content development fund was to help these companies also participate with international companies. So the policy was put in place. As a government, we have done a lot of consultations, but at a certain level, they said, no, if this is a fund, government is discouraging funds. But if there is any public fund to be put in this fund, it is not possible. So now we have agreed that no public fund will be put there. Now we are in the process of having the law. But to have that law, we have to go through a process. We have to do a regulatory impact assessment to see whether that fund is needed. The recommendation was that it is needed. We have now gone to Cabinet Secretariat. When we finish, then we shall take it to Cabinet. After Cabinet, we shall now have that bill presented to Parliament. So it is a process. As much as our indigenous companies have missed some of the opportunities, but we hope that if you are missed in oil and gas, you should not miss in others, because we have realized that what we are doing in oil and gas, you can also do in other sectors. So that is the position we are, please.
Thank you very much. Licensing ground. So far, the ministry has undertaken 2. The first one, and they just concluded one, where we have national player, our local company, our national company, UNOC, was one of the successful bidders in the process. Will there be another licensing ground? And if yes, what are the timelines we are looking at? And what is the government looking for this time? Because I believe that the first licensing ground shapes the second licensing ground. And then those 2 eventually shape the next licensing ground.
Licensing grounds is a process of attracting a potential investor. So we went through those processes, and I want to tell you, as much as we're being blamed that we are corrupt, it was the best way to quickly attract investors. The likes of Taro, the likes of Hardiman, the likes of Heritage, Neptune, Dominion, it was through open door policy. But because Parliament or public said we're not trusting, say, let us go through the bidding round. It is a process which you start by coming with a strategy. After the strategy has been done, you take it to cabinet. Then the cabinet says, okay, which areas are you going to open? They say these are the areas. You have to do EIS in those areas. Then after you have got all those reports, then you go and announce. So we have successfully done the first and the second. Now for the third, we are now coming up with a strategy. And I think by end of this financial year, the strategy will be in place. Cabinet has given us a go-ahead to do this. And also we are trying also to make sure we don't get stranded resources, because the issue of energy transitions, the issues of no fossil fuels, we want that thing to be hot when we are somewhere. So we are now soon announcing. We have started the process, and I think in the next financial year we shall be announcing which areas will be open for the third bidding round. It is a process of attracting investment into the sector.
I hope the pattern people are hearing that quite well. Recently, the government of Uganda, of course through the ministry, has just signed an agreement with the Republic of Tanzania. Would you be kind enough to unpack what is in that agreement on LNG?
What was recently done was the issue of having the procurement process take place. So those are the agreements which we signed. Otherwise, we first started by an MOU, and the meetings have been held both in Uganda and in Tanzania. We have held field excursion to agree on what is going on, and we have agreed that let us have a joint procurement so that we have that process in place.
Thank you very much. I now open up the floor for questions.
My name is Mr. Chris Onyekwere, Executive Director of We Are Free Well Services. Based on our experience in Nigeria, what is the plan for sustaining the development you have in this area after drilling and production has been completed? What plan do you have for the communities going forward in terms of development to avoid Nigerian experience? Thank you.
Before you answer that, let's take one more question, and we'll keep it at that.
My question is more of adding to what you have already elaborated, and that is towards the contents of the local content that you have talked about. It looked like your intake has been concentrating on capacity building to ensure that locals participated in this industry, which is also very important. But I would also like to add that on top, you need local service providers, that is contractors, to also be given the same capacity. And I wonder whether you have the way in which those local contractors can be able to access finance from the bank to enable them continue sustaining their presence in business. Because what normally happens is that in the long run, they run short of finance and they easily get out of businesses. We have witnessed this in South Sudan because of the major players that dominates and monopolize the sector.
Now, on the issues of what do we do, I think Petroleum Authority will tell you that we have done many things. We have sector linkages. We have a link with education, agriculture, tourism. We are trying to make sure that we spread so that if this resource ends today, at least there is a continuity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malinga. I think you will all agree there was no better person to represent the Ministry of Energy than Mr. Hani Malinga, and I think he has done a great job. And with that, allow us to end this session here. It was a pleasure hosting you, and hope you will still enjoy the next upcoming sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.